This is VOA News. I'm Marissa Melton. U.S. Congressman Adam Schiff on Sunday defended the two articles of impeachment brought against U.S. President Donald Trump by members of the House Judiciary Committee, abuse of power and obstruction of Congress.
Well, we've charged the president with abusing his power. Bribery and extortion are a subset of an abuse of power. And frankly, abuse of power better connotes the full range of the president's misconduct, the pattern of his misconduct, his efforts to invite Russian interference, his efforts to obstruct the inquiry into that invitation to Russia to intervene.
In an interview on Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace, Chairman Schiff dismissed arguments that Democrats should have taken Trump to court over his refusal to provide documents and testimony to congressional investigators.
Well, going to court is not an impeachable offense. Stonewalling completely, refusing to comply with the oversight of Congress, particularly during an impeachment inquiry, is an impeachable offense. Indeed, Richard Nixon was about to be impeached for a far less comprehensive effort to stonewall the Congress of his day.
Friday's vote came after a bitter two-day debate in which Democrats said it was their duty to impeach, while furious Republicans defended the president and battled over process. After 2 weeks of negotiations in Madrid on tackling global warming, delegates from almost 200 nations passed declarations calling for greater ambition in cutting planet-heating greenhouse gases and in helping poor countries that are suffering the effects of climate change. But the delegates postponed until next year a key decision on how to regulate global carbon markets. Carbon markets put a price on emission of carbon dioxide, the main greenhouse gas, and allow countries or companies to trade emissions permits that can be steadily reduced, encouraging the uptake of low-emission technologies. They'll meet again next year in Glasgow, Scotland. This is VOA News. Mexico is balking at additions Congress wants to make to the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement. AP correspondent Ben Thomas has more.
The issue is the addition of up to 5 U.S. labor attachés in Mexico to monitor implementation of labor reforms. The foreign ministry says that was not part of the agreement Mexico signed, and it doesn't want foreign inspectors on its soil because of sovereignty concerns. The agreement does provide for 3-person panels to resolve disputes on labor and other areas. Each country would pick one of the members, and a third person would be agreed to by both countries. Mexico's chief trade negotiator says he sent a letter to U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer, saying the House measure displays a regrettable mistrust in the treaty, which was negotiated in the spirit of good faith. Ben Thomas, Washington.
A big win this week in the United Kingdom for Prime Minister Boris Johnson and his Conservative Party, but a new wrinkle may be emerging more than 3 years after the UK voted to leave the European Union. Another referendum is back in the headlines amid calls from Nicola Sturgeon, leader of Scotland's ruling Scottish National Party, for a poll on independence.
I've just won an election in Scotland on the proposition that people should have a choice over our future. I accept that the Tories will rage against reality for as long as they can, but the fact of the matter is Scotland has chosen a very different kind of future to the one chosen by much of the rest of the UK.
A referendum was held in Scotland in 2014, with independence rejected by a margin of 55% to 45%. But Sturgeon argues that Brexit has changed the situation, as Scotland voted against leaving the European Union. Journalists and members of the public were sprayed with pepper spray in the face in Hong Kong by police as they moved in to make arrests during a protest at a shopping mall. Protesters were seen breaking glasses and had clashes with the police during a pro-democracy rally at the New Town Mall in Sha Tin District on Sunday. The rally, which had a Christmas shopping theme, was the latest in a series of demonstrations which have beset Hong Kong for more than 6 months. Protests erupted in June over a proposed extradition law. They've since snowballed into an anti-government movement. The Wall Street Journal reports that officials at the U.S. Army and Navy academies say they've launched an investigation into whether their students flashed white power hand signs during a nationally televised football game Saturday that President Donald Trump attended. The newspaper says West Point cadets and Annapolis midshipmen appeared to have flashed the hand signs during the annual Army-Navy football game in Philadelphia. The journal says authorities at both military schools say they've not determined the intent of the sign, which is similar to the OK sign. I'm Marissa Melton. You're listening to VOA News.